Hi, welcome to the part 2 of this recording. Building on the introductory video, we are taking a deep dive into qualitative data analysis. And in qualitative data analysis, it is embedded in qualitative research. And here we are talking about collecting and analyzing non-numerical data like text, video, or audio. Now, when you work with quantitative data, just as the name implies, you're working with quantity, numbers, right? So in qualitative data analysis, you're focused on exploring ideas and formulating theories or hypotheses. Here, you're not testing. You're more concerned about understanding by virtue of the exploration, right? Opinions, constructs, phenomenons, and things like that. In gathering qualitative data, you're surely going to be working with open-ended questions, right? You're also going to be summarizing, categorizing, and interpreting whatever data that you are collecting. And of course, in qualitative data analysis, you may not have all the large, sample base. You work with few respondents, and they give you really deep data, right? And of course, you use tools such as interviews, focus groups, ethnography, or literature review to collect data for any qualitative research, right? But when you use quantitative research or you do quantitative data analysis, you're definitely going to be collecting data from surveys and other quantitative methods of data collection. Maybe we'll just look at these tools a little bit. In interviews, definitely you're asking people questions. That way they are giving you audio responses, which you later transcribe to make sense of the data. In focus groups, you're gathering a group of people and you're asking them questions, thereby eliciting responses. I mean, in ethnography, you can just want to understand a phenomenon, and you go to a community, a place, a street, and you're just observing. That way, you're taking notes of everything, right? You're in that community for a period of time. There, you're doing some, you're deploying ethnographic tool. And of course, when you do literature review, you're collecting text, right? Written text, published text, and you're looking at some pattern. Maybe you're interested in a particular occurrence of word or a theme, that way you are doing some literature review as a tool in qualitative data analysis. Now, there's a rule of thumb, which I have said when I was, giving an overview of qualitative data analysis. Qualitative data certainly helps you understand concept, thoughts, construct, and phenomenon, while quantitative data simply confirms or tests something that you are interested in. All right, let's go forward. So if your concern is in qualitative data analysis, what are the available techniques that you can use? Now, we have these 4 commonly used techniques. The number one is content analysis. Number 2 is thematic analysis. Number 3 is discourse analysis. And you have grounded theory. Now, what is content analysis? In content analysis, what you do in content analysis, or better put, you're simply identifying patterns in a recorded communication, right? Your concern is you pick this content. It could be a recorded text, it could be a speech, right? And you're concerned about patterns that are recurring in this communication. So if, for example, you pick, say, the speech of a president within a particular year, say within maybe the campaign period or even a particular year, and you're concerned about in each of those speeches, how often is he talking about his economic policies, his health policies, right? So you can pick on all his speeches within a period of time, and you're analyzing the content to find out, any construct you're interested in, right? And there you will certainly, pick these contents. Talking about steps now, you select the contents you want to analyze. Are the speeches? Are the, anything at all, right, that is subject to content analysis that you want to analyze for. And so you also look at what is the inclusion criteria. It could be within a particular period. So that could be a criteria. So any other speech outside that period, it's not going to be used, right? So that's the first step in content analysis. Then the second thing is you will have to define the unit and category of analysis. What are you analyzing for, right? Like I said earlier, are you looking at the number of times you say the particular word? How often does it make reference to a particular economic policy and things like that? Then you will have to develop a set of rules for coding. Now, when we go into our Max QDA practice session, you'll get to see, how to develop simple codes in the analytical software that I'm talking about. That is Max QDA. Then you will also have to code the text according to the rules that you have developed. Then with all of that, you simply analyze your result and draw conclusion, right? That's a brief about content analysis. I advise you to take a deep dive, look at some other resources, so that when we meet for our debriefing, we can have a rich, conversation there. Now, in thematic analysis, in here rather, you find out people's view, opinion, knowledge, and experience, right? And here, what you're closely doing is to identify common themes, right? Reoccurring themes or ideas in a particular set of data. This data can be an interview, it can be a recorded text, and your main concern, like I said, is to find out common ideas that are repeating itself. Some quick steps. You will be familiarizing yourself with the data. You will be coding the data. You will be teasing out general theme. You will be making a review of the theme. Of course, you define and name these themes and produce a report. Now, the next slide has a bit of what I mean by this coding. So if you have an interview text, for example, like what we have here, right, and you're interested in assigning certain codes to this text. Now, when you read this, the interviewee simply said, personally, I'm not sure, right? If you want to extract the code here, you're seeing uncertainty, right? And you're using this color to refer to uncertainty. I think climate change is changing, right? Right here, there is an acknowledgement of climate change. Now, when you go for this, the interviewee says, sure, but I don't know why or how. Again, an uncertainty is reoccurring here, right? People say you should trust the expert, but who says they don't have their own reasons for pushing this narrative, right? So all of these are general codes. So it's based on what are you looking out for in your thematic analysis. When you're certain about what you're looking out for, it will help you generate codes. Now, when you have these codes, you're simply going to be converting these codes to theme. Already, you remember we had codes from that short interview extract. And here we have things like uncertainty, leave it to the expert, alternative explanation. All of this can broadly fall under your uncertainty, right? Distrust of experts. You're having things like changing technology, distrust of scientists, resentment towards experts. All of these fall under a particular theme. So that is what is happening. Now, these are for explanatory purposes. When we go into the software, which is the thrust of this session, right? With all of this understanding, we want to see how to manipulate these things in our qualitative data analysis software. These are all elements of, your thematic analysis. Now I will stop this recording here. Then I'll pick on the next two techniques for qualitative data analysis. Thank you.